sci-fi thriller Mercy follows a detective played by Chris Pratt who has just 90 minutes to prove his innocence to an artificial intelligence judge played by Rebecca Ferguson, or risk execution. Alongside the two, Kaylee Reese plays a skeptical detective aiming to uncover the truth before it's too late. Let's take a look.
All right, Jack, come on. Let's walk it.
Hey, listen, Chris. You need to get something really clear here first. You know I'm down for this, but if it ends up looking bad for you, that's exactly how I'm gonna say it looks, okay? You know we need every Mercy trial to send a message, and if that message today is that cops aren't above the law, I won't like it, but I'll sleep good tonight.
All right, that is Kaylee Reese. She joins us now. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I saw the film yesterday, and I found myself like holding my breath through multiple parts of this. What was it like to work with Chris Pratt, Rebecca Ferguson on your first major studio film here?
It was amazing. I mean, Chris Pratt and Rebecca, they're both such professionals, and they have such a long line of films and all the experience that they had, and just telling this particular story, it was amazing even just to sit at the table read and watch Rebecca kind of bring some humanity to this AI judge and how her brain works around this character. And also Chris, this was a different role for him and what I'm used to seeing him. This was a very serious role. So we worked really close together on our backstories, because we don't have a lot of screen time in the same room together. We just, communicating through phones, but it was a great experience.
I mean, in this film, artificial intelligence essentially is judge, jury, executioner. Did playing this role in this film change the way you view AI at all? Because AI is everywhere now.
Yeah, it's crazy because I read the script about 2 years ago, and we shot this almost a year and a half ago, and the progression of from where it started to now and talking about the movie when it comes out, it's took such a fast change. And my thoughts about AI is just like anything else. It's a great tool, a tool. You can have a hammer to build, you can have a hammer to destroy. So my outlook at this is kind of, I'm more positively intrigued and curious.
So to talk about the way you grew up, you're from Rhode Island. We talked about Rhode Island a little bit earlier. You lived there. I worked there a little bit. You're also a member of Seekonk Wampanoag that we had a chance to talk about too. Your life before you were acting, a boxer. I read online that you're the first Indigenous woman fighter to become world champion. And one platform that you're trying to bring awareness to is missing and murdered Indigenous women. Why is that important to you?
It's so important to me. It's something, amongst so many other things. I'm a mixed Cape Verdean, Indigenous Wampanoag Two-Spirit woman. I check a lot of boxes, and coming from where I'm coming from, we don't see, missing and murdered Indigenous women wasn't something that was, I grew up knowing. I just knew that we were targeted as being Indigenous women. And when it started going mainstream, MMIW, I'm like, why aren't we hearing or seeing this more mainstream? And why aren't there airtives? I have a platform, so I chose to use my boxing platform just to bring awareness. I don't consider myself an activist by any means, just kind of a mouthpiece, but there's no answers. There's lack of resources, and I just don't understand why we're not talking about this all the time. We talk about everything else. We talk about AI. We talk about the new Labubu's out, but we don't talk about things that matter, and our people are being targeted. I just want to do what I can to bring awareness as much as I can.
So what do you think can be done?
I think, as far as, especially speaking of AI and technology, as far as having some kind of warning system or actually a real clear vision on what jurisdictions are. They have cases where, they have jurisdiction battles where somebody's life is on the line, where we don't know where they don't take these cases or these people missing seriously. They just think it's another runaway, and by the time they realize what it is, it's too late.
So let's talk about Indigenous people in media and in film representation. What do you think has to be done to bring more Indigenous people to mainstream media?
I think coming from, all the backgrounds I do come from, and we have so many talented people amongst so many communities, whether it's women, whether it's Indigenous people, Cape Verdean people, it doesn't matter. I just feel like we should be telling the stories from the source, especially when we have these stories. History shows that Indigenous stories weren't told by Indigenous people. They were told about the perspective of people, how they thought things were. I just think that we should continue on the trajectory that we are on, telling these Indigenous stories, having these filmmakers, having these writers, even makeup artists, hair stylists, designers, just telling these authentic stories from these authentic perspectives, no matter what story we're telling.
Kaylee Reese, thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Our movie is in theaters now, and that's our show for this hour. I'm Perry Russom. Thank you for streaming with us.